Armand was a bad-looking dude. He had big skull rings, black clothes, and a long black ponytail and thick stubble. He lived in my apartment building and spent his days walking around the courtyard, chain-smoking hand-rolled cigarettes. We became friends, conversing in our heavily accented Swedish. We even grilled together during the summer. I remember the first time I went to his place, he had a picture up on his mantle of a young family. The man was clean-cut, barely more than a kid in an oversized suit. The woman was young and pretty, holding a baby who couldn't have been more than a year old. I asked who it was, and he told me it was him and his family. But Armand lived alone, and as he told me his story, I found out why. See, Armand was an Iranian Catholic who had been a news broadcaster during the revolution, and he'd been critical of the religious fundamentalist faction that eventually took power. After the Shah fled, the Ayatollah was consolidating his power and eliminating rival factions. Armand was walking with his wife and family in their neighborhood when they heard tires screeching behind them. A van was barreling down the street with the door open and an armed man hanging out. Thinking quick, Armand threw himself and his family into a roadside ditch, narrowly avoiding a spray of bullets as the van tore past them. They were badly shaken and decided they had to get out of the country. Armand got in touch with a UN contact friend who said he could arrange it. The contact put them up in a hotel in Tehran while he made arrangements. They thought it would be safer than staying at home. They were wrong. Armand left his wife and child in their hotel while he went home to make preparations for their departure. When he returned, they were gone. When he asked the front desk, they said his family had left with two men, that they'd left him a note. The note demanded that Armand turn himself over to the religious authorities. Distraught, he called his UN contact, told him what had happened, and expressed that he'd be turning himself in. The contact insisted that he stay put until they could talk in person. A few minutes later, when the UN contact arrived, Armand was sobbing in the lobby. The UN contact gripped his shoulders and told him the hard truth, that if his wife and child weren't already dead, they'd be killed regardless of whether he turned himself in. Then he half-dragged the weeping Armand into a waiting car and onto UN transport out of the country. And there he was, 30 years later, all alone, in an apartment in Småland, Sweden, rolling cigarettes and remembering. And I cannot stress this enough, this story is not unique. Thousands more such stories are being written right now in Iran.